Welcome to Premier League Match Pack, your weekly guide to all of the stats that matter. 90 games have now been played, with things really hotting up at the top of the table. In total, 242 goals have hit the back of the net, although just 19 were scored last match day, the fewest from any round of fixtures so far. There were 176 shots last weekend, the lowest total this campaign, with the season tally now standing at 1,710. And 4 individual errors led to goals, taking the total to 22. But those responsible can soon make amends with another 10 games coming up.
Tottenham Hotspur maintained their unbeaten league start to the season with a goalless draw at Bournemouth last time out. That result saw Mauricio Pochettino's side keep their 5th clean sheet of the campaign, more than any other team. It means they now boast a higher percentage of shutouts this season than ever before in their Premier League history. Spurs have failed to keep a clean sheet against this weekend's opponents Leicester City in their last 9 top-flight meetings. But the men from White Hart Lane are restricting opponents to fewer shots on target in games this season than in any other since such data was collected. Their defence has certainly caught the eye this term.
The base for Tottenham and is definitely based on that back 5 as such, as you say, because, as I said, the 2 full-backs are fantastic, got a lot of energy, both very quick and get up and down really quickly. But as I said, the definite solid part comes with the 2 centre-halves, because I think their communication, the way they play together, is a big reason why Tottenham are doing so well defensively.
Last season, Tottenham scored a league-high 23 times from set pieces, though just 1 of their 13 goals this term has come from such opportunities. No side conceded fewer goals from dead ball situations in 2015-16 than Spurs. Perhaps standards are slipping this time around. All 4 goals shipped have come from a set piece.
People now, when they play against them, maybe concentrate a bit more on them, and maybe study them a bit more carefully about where their weaknesses are, where they can maybe get hurt by set pieces. So at the same time, they're probably doing the same things this season that they did last season. It's just that other people are now paying more attention to it, and maybe that's why they're getting found out a little bit more.
Hoping to test Spurs' backline will be Shinji Okazaki. The Japanese forward scored his first Premier League goal of the season against Crystal Palace in the last match, completing 90 minutes for the first time since December. His energy against the Eagles was impressive. He covered a greater distance and made more sprints than any of his teammates. The inclusion of Okazaki in the side that faced Palace was one of 16 league changes that Claudio Ranieri has made to his starting lineup this season. That's almost half the total alterations the Italian made during the whole of the Foxes' title-winning campaign, although squad rotation is perhaps no surprise now that he's got to contend with European fixtures as well. At this stage last term, Leicester had played fewer matches, but still found themselves travelling up and down the country in both League and Cup. This season, much has been made of their extra fixtures, but their total distance travelled after 6 away games in all competitions is only slightly more.
They need to keep an eye on that and make sure their Premier League doesn't suffer with the Champions League, because at the end of the day, you don't really want to get too far in the Champions League and then your team is playing the Championship next season. So I'm sure Ranieri, he's a clever man, but I'm sure he wants to do probably the Premier League as a priority first and then Champions League maybe second.
One thing that Ranieri will definitely look to put right at White Hart Lane is his side's poor record on their travels this season. The Foxes haven't so much as managed a point from their 4 away trips so far, while no side in the division has shipped more goals on the road this campaign. They do travel to North London with a respectable record at Tottenham, however. Despite suffering 4 defeats, their tally of 4 wins at White Hart Lane is their joint highest total at a Premier League ground that isn't their own, whilst they can't better their total of 17 goals at the home of any other Premier League opponent. Claudio Ranieri takes his side to the capital, aiming to extend his near-perfect record across the years against Spurs. The Italian has picked up maximum points in 7 of his 10 meetings with Tottenham and has never lost, the most recent success coming in the corresponding fixture last term, although some suggest this match could see that unbeaten record come to an end.
Tottenham look more hungry this season, and I do feel that the form that Tottenham are in, the way they're scoring goals, the way they're defending, I do believe that they will go in front, and I think they'll beat Leicester. I mean Leicester is still a good side. They've still got really dangerous players, but as I said, Tottenham will probably have that in the back of their minds about what happened last season, and won't obviously allow that to happen this season. And I said I'm firmly believe that Tottenham will win that game quite comfortably.
Sunderland's miserable start to the season continued with a late defeat at West Ham United last weekend. The Black Cats remain bottom and now welcome an Arsenal side who sits second. The Gunners, though, were frustrated by Middlesbrough last time and are now one of 3 teams level on points at the top. Arsene Wenger's side might fancy their chances of a return to winning ways when they travel to the Stadium of Light. The hosts have found goals hard to come by this season. They're the division's lowest scorers and have failed to find the net in 4 of their 9 games. They've relied on Jermaine Defoe again. He's bagged 4 of the team's 6 goals.
That's what you'd have to say kept Sunderland in the Premier League last year, probably. They've got to give him opportunities. They've got to create chances for him. If they don't, then of course he can't score goals. But if they create opportunities, Jermaine Defoe will score goals.
But Sunderland now face a defence that has kept the joint most clean sheets in 2016. Hector Bellerin has played a pivotal role in that, and the young Spaniard's energy has been a useful asset. Nathaniel Clyne is the only defender in the league to have made more sprints than Bellerin this term. Despite a 0-0 draw last season, Arsenal have tended to enjoy their visits to the Stadium of Light. They've won 4 of their last 5 on this ground. A double from Alexis Sanchez securing the victory in October 2014. Sunderland's last win against Arsenal came in 2009 when Darren Bent fired his side to a 1-0 win.
Southampton continue to impress with their early season performances. A point at leaders Manchester City last time out further demonstrated how good a side they are, and a key aspect of their game has been their willingness to shoot. No side has had more shots than the 112 struck by the Saints. A positive string of results mean Claude Puel's side are currently on a 5-game unbeaten run. The last time they tasted a league defeat was back in early September. When it comes to playing in front of their own fans, the Saints are particularly formidable. They've not lost at home since February. But the last visiting team to leave St Mary's with all 3 points was Chelsea, who make the trip to the South Coast once again this Sunday. Blues head coach Antonio Conte will be delighted with his team's newfound solidity in defence. They've now kept 3 consecutive clean sheets, something they last managed to achieve towards the back end of their title-winning season in 2015. Those shutouts have provided the foundation for Chelsea to win each of their last 3 fixtures, and the winning streak has coincided with Conte's decision to deploy a back 3, a system with which he's familiar and one that appears to be getting the best out of his players. Their last away trip brought a comfortable victory at Hull City, so the Blues should be travelling to Southampton brim full of confidence.
After an impressive start, Everton have now gone 4 games without victory. Ronald Koeman's side have 15 points from their first 9 matches, which still compares favourably to their record at this stage in each of the last 2 seasons. But they'll want to rediscover that winning feeling.
You don't want to go any period of time without winning games, and especially for Everton, they started the season so well. They would have been disappointed to go to Burnley on the weekend and lose, but we're better to get back on the winning path. A game at home on a Sunday and against a team who they've got a fantastic record against in West Ham.
Slaven Bilic's side enter this clash with confidence restored, winning back-to-back league games for the first time since April. In the coming weeks, West Ham face some tricky-looking fixtures, but will take heart from the results they picked up in the corresponding games last term. For now, though, their full focus must be on the trip to Goodison Park.
Within the week, there'll be slightly different game plans towards who you're playing against, so you work towards playing against different formations, how to stop different players, and obviously how to hurt teams. And West Ham will have a game plan of how they want to go, how they want to attack, but the main thing for them is they're coming off the back of 2 big wins, 2 clean sheets, and hopefully that confidence is starting to build now and they can go on a bit of a run themselves.
In this fixture last season, West Ham trailed 2-0 with less than a quarter of an hour remaining. But late goals from Mikel Antonio, Diafra Sakho and Dimitri Payet completed a remarkable turnaround to seal a famous and rare victory on Merseyside. Late goals have been a hallmark of the Bilic era, with West Ham scoring more times in the final 15 minutes than any other side since the Croatian took charge in East London back in the summer of 2015.
When you've got that relationship between a manager and a player where you want to go out there and do that extra bit, not just for yourselves, but also you don't want to let the manager down. And you can see the West Ham players have got that, and unfortunately at the start of the season they've struggled, but you can see it slowly starting to come back, that fighting spirit.
But a spirited display may not be enough to contain Romelu Lukaku. The Belgian has scored in 6 consecutive games against the Hammers. Only 2 players in Premier League history have scored in more successive games against the same opponent. Koeman has asked Lukaku to spend more of his time attacking down the right-hand side, which is more than he did under Roberto Martinez last year, and the hope will be that the forward can continue his fine run of form against the Hammers on Sunday.
It seems there's certain players, Frank Lampard always used to score against West Ham, Jermaine Defoe seems to always score against West Ham, and it seems as Lukaku likes to do the same. And look, he's a fantastic player, he's strong, he's scored plenty of goals already this season.
West Ham will aim for a 3rd clean sheet in a row, but overall their defence have still had a tough start to the season. The East London club have conceded 3 or more goals on 4 separate occasions, as many times as in the whole of the last campaign. The recent improvements appear to be down to Bilic's side going back to basics. Their last 3 matches have seen them clear their lines nearly twice as often on average as in their first 6 league fixtures. The Hammers will go into this game off the back of a League Cup victory over Chelsea on Wednesday. But their record over the last 5 seasons in matches directly following midweek domestic cup ties suggests they could struggle. That's good news for Everton, who've enjoyed facing the Hammers down the years. The Toffees may have snatched defeat from the jaws of victory in March, but throughout Premier League history, they've more wins against West Ham than any other side.
Manchester United's season suffered a significant setback at Chelsea last weekend, but the Red Devils did improve to beat neighbours Manchester City in the League Cup on Wednesday. The mood in the Burnley camp will be buoyant after their dramatic late victory over Everton. Now their manager will be hoping to see similar spirits this weekend.
Sean Dyche will go to Old Trafford and free kicks as being a way for possibly them to catch United out. But you'd have to say United will be big favourites in this one.
If Burnley are to cause an upset and come away with 3 points, they may have to improve their tackling. They've won just 100 tackles this season. Every other side in the division has made more successful challenges than Sean Dyche's side. In both of their previous Premier League campaigns, the Clarets had won more tackles at this stage. Ander Herrera has been one of Manchester United's more combative players this season. The Spaniard has been a key figure for Jose Mourinho in defensive midfield. None of his teammates have won more tackles, whilst Paul Pogba is the only United player to have played more passes than Herrera this season. Burnley have conceded 3 on both their previous visits to Old Trafford in the Premier League. Their first trip in 2010 saw them hold out for over an hour. Eventually they succumbed 3-0. More recently, in February 2015, Chris Smalling scored an unlikely brace in a game United went on to win 3-1.
Time now for our quiz question. Manchester United's Wayne Rooney celebrated his 31st birthday this week. He made 443 Premier League appearances before reaching that age. But can you name the only player to have played more games by the time they turned 31?
Manchester City remain top, but will be eager to get back to winning ways as they travel to West Bromwich Albion. Pep Guardiola's men haven't won for 6 matches in all competitions, and while they've outscored their weekend opponents, defensively these two sides' records are similar. The Baggies have only conceded 1 more goal than the league leaders. Tony Pulis's teams have always been a fearsome prospect at set pieces, and this season West Brom have once again been specialists in that regard. They've scored a league-high 7 goals from dead ball situations. With that figure representing 70% of the Baggies' total, City are likely to have to defend plenty of balls coming into their box. Nasser Chadli and Raheem Sterling have thrived under new management, with both directly involved in 6 goals so far this term. Sterling made his City debut in the corresponding fixture last season and is sure to be heavily involved again this weekend.
He looks a real threat every time he gets the ball. His final ball is improving all the time and scoring goals as well. So to see Sterling do that is fantastic after the summer. In terms of Chadli, he's obviously left Spurs, a little bit of a surprise to quite a few people. Always done well when he played, but fair play to him, probably didn't see himself in the starting lineup and wanted to play regularly, and has gone to West Brom and made a real impact.
City have a perfect recent record against West Brom, winning every one of the last 9 matches they played against the Baggies. The men from Manchester haven't lost a league game to West Brom since December 2008, when a last-minute goal from Roman Bednar gave Albion all 3 points.
Middlesbrough earned plenty of plaudits for their draw at Arsenal last time out, but may look back and feel they could have taken all 3 points. Failure to convert positive play into goals has been a familiar theme for Borough, especially in the second half of games. They've scored just 2 goals after the break this season, fewer than any other side. Aitor Karanka will be keen to address his side's lack of goals and bring to an end a disappointing winless run. But the fact they're back at home this weekend doesn't necessarily boost their chances. They picked up just 1 point from a possible 12 so far at the Riverside Stadium, losing their last 3 home games. That's good news for Bournemouth, who make the long trip to the northeast on the back of an impressive defensive display against high-flying Tottenham last Saturday. It was their 3rd clean sheet of the campaign, but with all of those shutouts coming at home, the challenge now for Eddie Howe's side is to show their resolve on the road. The Cherries have risen to 10th after a good run of results, losing just once since the season moved into September. Bournemouth are still searching for their first win on their travels, though. Their results away from home will be an area that Howe will want to improve, starting this weekend.
Liverpool returned to winning ways in the Premier League in their last game and are now level on points with Manchester City and Arsenal at the top. Sadio Mane and Philippe Coutinho scored the goals, but a failure to keep a clean sheet ensured a rather nervy finish. The Reds certainly provide entertainment. There have been a total of 126 goals in Liverpool's matches since the arrival of Jurgen Klopp. That's more than any other side. But the German will be keen to see his team tighten up as they chase English football's biggest prize.
I think Liverpool can, actually, beat in and around the title challenge come the end of the season. It's all about stopping conceding goals. They do concede some silly goals on the odd occasion. Going forward, as we know, they're very exciting. They like the high press. It works for them because they are so well drilled by the manager, Mr. Klopp. They know their jobs.
Liverpool know all about Crystal Palace's attacking focal point this weekend, having sold Christian Benteke to the Eagles in the summer. The Belgian has so far thrived at Palace, using his head to score each of his 3 goals for his new club, as many headers as he managed in the whole of last season for the Reds. Benteke will hope that Jason Puncheon returns from injury in time for this clash, as his teammate has created 10 chances for him this season, more than any other Premier League player has provided for a single teammate. Liverpool will no doubt be bracing themselves for an aerial bombardment suited to their former striker.
They have to get as many chances to Benteke as possible. They know if they cross the ball, if they put him in one-on-one, he'll score goals. He really will. We can forget about his penalty taking because that's rubbish at the moment. But put the ball in the box for him. I don't think there's anybody better at the moment if you supply him with crosses than Benteke.
With Liverpool already facing the threat of Benteke, the form of their goalkeepers may be an additional concern. Summer signing Loris Karius has started the last 4 league games, but currently possesses the division's joint lowest save percentage, with backup Simon Mignolet not faring a great deal better. While that area may be problematic for Klopp, his attacking options have been enhanced by the form of Adam Lallana. The England international is 1 goal short of his tally from last season after just 9 games. And with 3 assists to his name, Lallana is Liverpool's top provider this term.
Lallana's always tried to pick a pass. He's not scared to gamble with a pass as well. We've seen him do it with England as well. Very exciting player to watch. Can go left, can go right. You don't know how to defend against him. So yeah, I think he's been one of the shining lights for the Premier League, not just Liverpool.
Alan Pardew will try to nullify the likes of Lallana as he looks to improve his home record as Palace boss. The former Eagles player has lost more than half of the league games he's managed at Selhurst Park since taking over in January 2015. And with Palace's next 5 home fixtures against teams currently in the top 8, that record could get worse before it gets better. Ahead of this matchup with third-place Liverpool, the two sides have kept only one clean sheet between them in 2016-17, so this could be a high-scoring affair. That would be in keeping with recent history in this matchup, with an average of 4 goals per...
The movement of Liverpool's front 5, front 6 will be a nightmare for the big lads of Palace. They move it so quickly, or one and two touch Liverpool play. If they have to go through the middle, they will. If they have to go around the outside, they will. I just think Palace, to stay in this game, Palace have to concentrate for 90-95 minutes. Otherwise, they could get blown away.
Earlier, we asked which player had made the most Premier League appearances before turning 31. And the answer is Gareth Barry, who'd played 455 games prior to his 31st birthday in 2012. He's still going strong. Only Frank Lampard and Ryan Giggs have played more games in this division.
Watford's position in the top half reflects the positive start they've made to the campaign under Walter Mazzarri. But something the Italian will be conscious of is his side's indiscipline. The Hornets have committed 137 fouls, the most in the competition, whilst the 25 yellow cards they've received is also a division high. Watford have certainly shown in recent weeks just how tough they are to beat. They've lost 1 of their last 6 games, winning 3 of those. At Vicarage Road, after a couple of tricky home matches at the start of the season against Chelsea and Arsenal, they picked up 4 points. And they'll really fancy their chances this weekend against a Hull City side who've conceded 22 goals so far this term. In fact, the Tigers have the league's leakiest defence. 5 of the goals they've let in have come in the final 10 minutes of matches. No team has shipped more goals after the 80th minute, so sorting out that particular frailty will be significant if Mike Phelan's team are to have any chance of ending a disastrous losing streak. Hull have lost their last 5 games, collecting just 1 point since they won away at Swansea in August. The Tigers were 3rd after that victory, but have since slipped alarmingly down the table. 3 points from a win at Vicarage Road would certainly assist their cause.
Stoke City will be eager to continue their upturn in form, having won matches, while Swansea City's new boss Bob Bradley earned his first Premier League point last weekend. The Swans' clean sheet last time out is sure to have pleased the American, but they know
one that people didn't expect, and from that they've gone on and then got their first win in the season. It's but Mark Hughes is a proven manager in the Premier League. He's done great over many years at different clubs, and for me it was only a matter of time before they started hitting the form that they've done at the moment.
Stoke will feel they can extend their current winning run, and the confidence of Xherdan Shaqiri in particular is sure to be high after scoring 2 spectacular goals last weekend. Thanks largely to the Swiss international, the Potters have the highest percentage of goals scored from outside the box. Bob Bradley introduced a new defensive partnership last weekend with Premier League debutant Alfie Mawson alongside Mike van der Hoorn. Mawson, who's just 22 years old, slotted in comfortably and helped to keep the Swans' first clean sheet since the opening day. Swansea are yet to win at Stoke in the Premier League, but 2 of the last 3 games at the Bet365 Stadium have ended as draws. In the corresponding fixture last season, Swansea trailed Stoke 2-0 with over an hour gone, but late goals from Gylfi Sigurdsson and Alberto Paloschi earned the visitors a share of the spoils.
The weekend action gets underway at the Stadium of Light as Sunderland go in search of their first win of the season, welcoming Arsenal. Tottenham play Lane before Liverpool travel to Crystal Palace. Sunday sees an intriguing battle between Southampton and Chelsea, with Stoke and Swansea bringing the round to a close on Monday. There's certainly plenty at stake, and with just 1 point separating the top 5 teams, this season's title race looks set to be one of the most fascinating in many a long year. Manchester City have been top since week 2, but with Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea and Tottenham all hot on their heels, could we have new leaders by the end of the weekend? Until next time, from Dave Farrer, me, John Champion, and the rest of the Matchpack team, it's goodbye.